So I asked trainee teachers what decolonising the curriculum means, and they couldn't say. I wonder how many teachers know it too. Time to change the typical topics we've always done. Hashtag empowerment. A primary school teacher who promotes global citizenship. Oh God. And the comments are not that much better. Celebrating the diversity within the class and rich teachings many cultures can provide. From each pupil's own world viewpoint. Having parents from BAME backgrounds come in to provide support. Not from a viewpoint of a Western teacher per se. This is Scotland. But of course, there's no native Scots in a globalised Scotland. It's all about modernisation and diversity, am I right? Totally agree. Great to have Spanish Day or French Day. Why not celebrate specific countries that our BAME children come from? It seems obvious, but there is resistance to change. Oh, there's resistance to change. Of course there's resistance to change. There's always resistance to change. Step by step, I suppose. We're also very lucky to have amazing teachers who is also an education in Scotland equality rep, who has fantastic relations, and she speaks around 6 languages. Sounds fantastic. I discussed this when also looking at LGB emphasis in the T-Forced inclusive education. Every member of staff needs to be involved in the process, and students should be engaged. To decolonise the curriculum, we have to decolonise ourselves. Oh, dearie me. All needs change, but this topic needs to be included. I was astounded in a hall of over 100 students. Nobody had ever heard of this. We're not asking for a definition. We need to engage with wider education matters, or we will diminish teacher agency and professionalism. I'm super fortunate to be on an amazing course with educators from across the world, exploring together how we can decolonise the curriculum. Online tutorials with Vanessa Sonso, who influences our approach. Global citizenship education. Me, an anti-racist and multicultural educator. Learning from the past, looking to the future. I was delighted to welcome Professor Jeff Palmer to help celebrate Black History Month in its Edinburgh offices. After securing the future of Scottish learning and whisky from the creation of the International Centre for Brewing and Distilling, Palmer went on to author major works on race in Scotland, including major work on the connection between Scotland's wealth and its involvement in the slave trade. Professor Palmer lectured for the Black History Month event, which was titled Learning from the Past, Looking to the Future, focusing on the topic of Scotland's historic involvement in the slave trade, opening up the talk by noting how many people are surprised to learn that Scotland has a history of slavery. Hate to break it to you, Jeff, I really don't give a fuck. Making critical understandings of racism more accessible and mainstream. Race, racist, racism, privilege, BAME, person of colour, political blackness, whiteness. Opening new report into the BAME, ethnic experience in Scottish schools. How do young people in Scotland perceive and experience secondary school education? This report was conducted in partnership with EDI Scotland, providing research and data on issues related to equality, my favourite word diversity, and the inclusion. EDI Scotland is directed by Dr. Kevin Guyan. Fuck's sake. Scotland provides research and data on issues related to equality, diversity and inclusion in Scotland. Youth Scotland offers a range of services that wrap around young people, connecting with them through their own interests. Engaging activities come together to grow confidence and self-belief, with the purpose of creating a new generation of activism. Oh, dearie me. But like schools, often very few truly understand the challenges of racism and inequality. They don't know how it feels to be hated, and there is not really sustained cultural competence safe spaces. It's just an extension of school, and how do you know you're hated? Many don't truly understand the barriers. You're right, I don't. We need to be led by youth workers who have lived experiences. Oh, fuck off. We recognise the best efforts of some teachers when dealing with bullying, but the work isn't consistent. Training will stop a racist being a racist, but our young people of Scotland can stop it. Alright, aye. These partnership agencies who deliver good approaches and workshops are not usually led by trained youth workers and often don't meet our needs either. We don't want to go to a place our aunties and grannies go to. We want our own youth service like the LGBMs and the T Youth Scotland does. Previous practice in schools and reporting racist bullying was not funded properly. We need action now. We need sustainability, or the same pain will continue to affect our young people, and we will be in the exact same position next year. I feel that class topics are mainly about European culture, not other culture. Well then, better change everything. Teachers at my school aren't racist, but you can acknowledge that some of them are, even when I am one of the top students in class. Here's that paranoia kicking in again. I will be treated differently compared to white, noisy peoples that lack effort. Here's that perception. Obvious how I was treated different because of my colour and religion. If you are somebody that participates in this type of ideology, this sustainability, global citizen BS, no surprise at all that you believe wholeheartedly that the teachers in your school treat you differently, see you differently, and dislike you because of your colour. Well, racist incidents occurred and the pupils who were responsible were not held accountable. Well, I think that probably boils down to what you define as a racist incident. I got no compassion. The teacher just said, what do you want me to do about it? As if my school doesn't really do anything anymore after our first complaint on racism and discrimination. Again, define racism and discrimination. Teachers are also so much in denial about racism and issues like this are always procrastinated over. I wonder why that might be. They treated it as if I was in the wrong rather than the person in question, and I never received an apology, and I'm really starting to think that the incident in question, or the incidents, had nothing at all to do with the racism, and again, your perception. Thank God I don't have children. This is the sort of shit that I can expect they'll have to endure. I might have to second guess on that one. Look, there's an anti-racism. Think like a white man. This particular book is not like anything I've read before. As I'm at the stage of my career where I'm looking for progression, I recently experienced the type of institutional barriers that many of my veteran peers of colour warn me about. A type of demoralising barrier when you see other white people with less experience and fewer skills get promoted before you, mostly because of their white male privilege. People of colour facing this type of institutional racism in Scotland, and for every one person being hired for their white male privilege, how many other white males who also had privilege weren't hired on that day? That's when I spotted the pale green letters of the book Think Like a White Man. Contribute to my understanding of racism, and what did I gain from it? Times, the laughter and smiles it triggers are contagious, even though the subject of laughter is often very dire. Think Like a White Man really did lift my spirits. White people turning the gaze. This book does a great job of turning the gaze and critically examining whiteness. That's me, Dan, I can't be arsed listening to this fucking BS.